everybody. Welcome back to another episode of A-Side Boxing. I'm Ray Massey. This is Carlos Massey, and we're going to talk about, now that the dust has settled and we kind of get a clear picture of what was going on at lightweight. So, what do you think about that Tank fight, Carlos?
Tank fight, it was good, but it wasn't what some people thought it would be. A lot of some controversy, but overall good fight.
Yeah. So Carlos said it wasn't what some people thought it would be. I knew it would be. I'm just telling you. And Tank's.
Oh, come on.
Tank is my fighter. That's my guy. So is Roach, but you know how it is. It's the home team. But I hate to see my favorite fighters fight. I know that sounds weird. You want to see the best, fight the best. But in this case, it was what I thought it would be anyway. I know a lot of us who are not casual fans, we already understand that these guys have competed at the highest level as amateurs. So it wasn't going to be a lot of the theatrics that you would see with most of the Tank fights, like, leading up, all of the bullying, pushing off stage. It was a mutual respect, and it's a good thing. I mean, it's not talking bad about any fighter. They both were, take your hat off to anybody who get in the ring. These guys, they did their thing and both delivered. Hats off to Tank, because Tank, this is a risk. You don't fight a guy like the Reaper, Yeah, and hats off to Lamont, because again, he has a belt. There's no incentive to move up a weight class and fight another guy with a belt unless he's chasing greatness. So I just want to say shout out to both of those fighters for the show they put on, and also the undercard. The undercard with Gary Antoine Russell. What's up, Carlos? Go ahead. You tell me what you think.
Well, you skip right over the Tank. We're gonna come back to the Tank.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to it. I just want to.
That was a little heavy. It's a lot of stuff involved with it. I said
it
was what most people didn't think how it was gonna turn out. That was only because, like, if you from the area, we understand both fighters. So yeah, but the undercard was a pretty good fight. Shout out to Gary Russell, Antoine Russell, great performance. He looked perfect in there against a game fighter. Rayo is no slouch, and he went in there and handled business, man. So shout out to Gary Russell and their team. Congratulations on the championship, and we was in for treats all night on Saturday.
Yeah. So it's my take on that fight. Like I said, Rayo is a true champion. He's not ducking no smoke. To be honest, this is another one of those kind of coin toss, only because you see a rising prospect, and then you see against a world champion. Somebody's right and somebody's wrong. The ring is going to tell you. And in this case, Gary Antoine Russell was right. He's the one, right? What I liked about that fight is just off the break, just establishing respect. Russell was fighting in combinations, right? He was relentless. He has like a pressure style. I think he may be a tick or two, not as fast as Gary Russell, but this ain't about Gary Russell. It's Gary Antoine Russell. He's establishing his dynasty, and whatever he didn't make up, he didn't do in speed. He made up for in power. He kept the champion, the heavy-handed champion, backing up. Rayo really couldn't put anything behind his punches, because he was forced to retreat, almost box on his heels, and against the ropes. And as most fighters know, it's hard to really assert yourself when you're moving backwards. There's a few fighters that can do that. Floyd can fight backwards. Ray Leonard fight backwards. But again, it's tough. So I thought and a hell of a job for the coaching. First off, the coaching doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
I was mad that they didn't do enough clips of
corner talk.
The corner talk, because that's where all the magic happens. Yeah, the fighter does his work, but the coaching, this is why it's important that, you have guys who've been there before. They've been in the fire. They can tell you what you need to do, and that was, again, yeah.
That was a good fight. I thought it would be a good test for Gary Russell. But it proved me wrong. He was dominating Rayo in area. To me, he was fast too in that fight. Fast, the power, like you say, he early on he established himself and he kept on that foot and he kept the pressure on. Rayo couldn't handle the power or the speed. He definitely had problems with what he was doing in there. Yeah. And that jab was aggression. Normally he's very aggressive, but it was contained aggression. Like he wasn't just running there. He was popping that jab, just to find them other bigger shots.
Yeah. And again, with that pressure side, it forces you to think. It's not like Rayo, when you got the power, you can kind of dictate the fight, walk it down. It was a relaxed pace. No, it was agitation. Because at a certain point you want to stop chasing me, man.
Right.
You want to establish yourself. You don't want to keep retreating. One, the optics of it isn't good, and two, because outside the ring, people are just looking at it like, well, it looks like he's losing, or it looks like he's hurt or something. But at the psychological factor of constantly backing up, it ruins you as the fight goes on. It was a good strategy. I loved it. Again, I loved the coaching. I see he had that iron inswell.
Yeah. I like that.
I like that. I like the iron mask. It's back in boxing again, right?
Right. So, and if you and the crazy thing is when you fighting someone like Gary Russell, Antoine Russell, if you don't have the power to keep him off, you're gonna have a rough night. Like, cause he wasn't affected by nothing he was throwing. And he was walking right through him. So again, shout out to Gary Russell and that team over there.
Yeah.
We expect great things from him too.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And honorable mention, my guy, he lost to what's his name? The awkward fighting guy on the undercard that Gary lost to.
Oh,
yeah.
He
fought.
Oh my goodness. Puello.
Yeah, Puello. Let me tell you something. I like to see them running back.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like to see him running back. Puello had all he can handle, and some would argue he lost his fight. I thought he lost. And
it was close. It was
close.
He shouldn't have been jumping up in the air.
Yeah.
Like he really believed he won like by a large margin.
Yeah.
But I know he got some other fighters licking their chops like, I can get that belt.
Yeah. But anyway, good shout out to him. That's the honorable mention. But getting right into the in the main event, man.
Now
okay, now go ahead.
So no. Let's keep over. So you said the fight went exactly how you.
That's what I said. So this is what I said before, and we're gonna play some of that audio during this podcast of my conversation I had with Lamont Roach Sr. Right, and if you're out there, I know you know. This wasn't gonna be like what a lot of the casual fans thought. Tankers are gonna walk in there and just mow him down with bombs, or allow him to. Take some early rounds and then kind of do him dirty like he did Martin. Nah. He wasn't gonna do that. That wasn't gonna happen. He's a highly decorated amateur. He knows how to survive. He knows how. And people, you keep a lot of people don't give enough credit to that amateur background.
Right.
He's been in there with dogs, elite fighters, same as Tank. The stuff that he's doing to a lesser skilled fighter. But higher celebrity status fighter, it's not gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen with Lamont. And when I say it happened, it is a battle. It was a mental battle. That was, in case you guys didn't notice, that was high speed chess. These guys were. That's mathematics at its highest. these guys were calculating distances. They weren't putting themselves in positions for the first punch. They were lining themselves up for the third and fourth punch. That's why you saw fast counters, fast slips, feints. You saw everything. A lot of stutter steps. It was every single incidental that you would kind of pass off as nothing. You saw in the fight, and that's what happens when you get at that high level. It's always it's the little things, the attention to detail, the foot placement, the balance, and all that stuff. All that stuff really comes into play. I like the fight. It was everything I thought it would be, and well, I guess we'll just transition to the knee, right?
No. It was, to me, it was a little different because it was like the DMV area. We had these tournaments. One of them called the Battle of the Beltways. So it reminded me of a Battle of the Beltway on steroids. Like back in the day, you'll have these DC's a fighting town, loaded with talent. So you'll have these two top guys meet up, whether it's in the regional or that last spot to go out of town. So I think Roach did a good job with countering. He countered him. He didn't let Tank counter him, and he punched in between those extra punches that touched him. On the inside, I think he did what most fighters didn't do to me. Like I was watching, it was like he rumbled him on the inside. He stayed his distance. He stayed in the pocket. He didn't back out. He didn't retreat. So he didn't expose himself to pulling back and getting caught with some of them vicious hooks that Tank normally throws. It was, I can say once I saw a couple rounds, I kind of knew where it was headed, and I actually did call it.
What?
I called the draw. Before I
definitely did. We're gonna go back. We're going back to the tape.
Yeah. My fan dude said I called the draw. So,
so I want to see that.
I called the draw.
Evidence of that?
Yeah.
All right,
Cool. Yeah. So, and the reason why I said that because by the third round, it's like Lamont was in there still trying to figure him out, and I don't know if it had something to do with Tank saying he wanted to retire. But it didn't seem like, and that's not to take nothing away from Roach, it didn't seem like he was trying to go in there reckless. But he understood what he was in front of too. So I think it was a good fight. I definitely think they should run it back, especially with all that controversial, or some people say rules that or
Why don't do that, Carl?
Don't say rules.
He's gonna say some people would say rules. The rules were there before the fight.
The rules are rules.
So don't say.
I'm just giving you a balanced approach.
I don't know. No, it's real or fake. All right. So yes, okay, yeah, we have our biases. We like certain fighters, but let's just call it what it is. Right. Yes, it was a knee. Both fighters admitted. It's not like that's a. We saw what we saw. Your lying eyes didn't deceive you.
Right.
It was a knee.
Right.
That was one, and then they also got help from outside. He also got help up on a ring,
right? Because
the corner,
because the referee came.
Yeah. So it was what it was. Fine. I mean, we know it happened.
So what do you say about the saying? What people say? Like I talk to people, and I'm quite sure you talk to people. Some people saying no, Tank won, right? So what do you say about the old saying? When you got to beat the champ,
but he did,
right?
He did.
No, I'm talking about you gotta, this has been going on for a while. You have to beat the champ to be the champ. Do you really have to put a thrashing on him, or
you gotta understand?
Is that out the window? You
gotta understand there was a moral victory that took place. First off, one, the humility after the fight and how Roach was like, he was just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We know what happened. We know what we saw. You know, you know what I'm saying? That was one. Another thing was the inability for a champ to. I said champ. That's what Tank. I hear my dog barking, so I said champ. So for Tank to land those devastating combination, just stalk him and walk him down and just chop him down, he couldn't do it.
I said that the defense was gonna play the part though.
Yeah. The surprising moments where it looked like Tank was off guard. He caught it. Was
See,
at that level, these fighters, man, they set traps, and it looked like Tank was walking into more traps than Lamont was. Lamont was again. All of this really goes back to what I said before the fight was the mental edge, and I thought Roach had it because. I mean, just look at it. If you look at the
mental edge, you said mental edge.
Yeah.
I know we had a discussion.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. So when I say the mental edge, it was.
I said adjustments.
Your focus, your ability to think with clarity in the ring, and execute your plan. That is a mental edge. That's not physical. You have to mentally be in the fight.
So I think
in order to execute,
but
because you can't execute. It's not like running out of gas. That's physical. You know, that's lack of training. That's lack. You know what I'm saying? Getting
but you can run out of gas.
Yeah, you can.
You go something
gas. That's not a mental thing. Refusing when Manny Pacquiao is a good example of mental toughness. Whenever the crowd yelled or he getting his lick back. You know, if you land something on him, he hitting you with about 4 or 5 in return. You're getting a receipt for everything you throw. And so that's what I mean when I say keeping the mental advantage in the fight. He backed him up. He talked him down. He talked trash right back with him. He punched in between punches. That's dangerous with Tank. That's dangerous with Tank.
He did it though, and I like I was telling my boy, I said, look, I like Tank, but if this was a street fight and we walk, the 2 baddest people in the neighborhood fought, and we went our separate ways on the way back to the neighborhood, I say, hey, you did a good job, but man, he touched you up. and I'm just keeping it real. Before the fight, I hear, I've heard this before, even like with Sugar Ray Leonard back in the day. I heard, fighters talking like they, this might be the last one for me and about to retire. And to get in the ring is like you said, they you don't see that mental toughness. It's almost like
he checked out before the fight. It's almost like wait, he ain't got that dog.
But I think he expected to get the nod.
Yeah.
Just off because I put butts in seats.
Yeah. But that don't always go your way. We've seen it. But for it to be a draw, I mean that says everything.
Yeah.
But again, shout out to Tank. He had a good. He did it. He did his thing.
He coming back.
Ain't no losers in this fight. And even if it was a lot, I don't get what people. There's a lot of people who keep talking about. Listen, sometimes a loss is needed. Yeah. Sometimes to spark that second win. Yeah. And like I said, some of the greatest had losses. I don't care if you win and you beat all chickens. That don't mean you're the greatest of all time. And we see that with Jake Paul. Like,
what they say? What they say back in the day? I don't know. Sonny Liston, one of them said, it's harder to go jogging when it's 5 a.m. You got on silk pajamas. So I think sometimes when you get up high, the hunger might not be there, or like you said, you probably want to spend a little more time with his family.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame it at all. Get your money, get out the game. Yeah. But all in all, it was a good fight. I give the edge to Roach in this fight. I definitely get the edge to him. And my thing is how, even coming into the fight, I thought this was a win-win situation for Roach. Because if he won, he the man. If he draw, he's still the man, right? And if he didn't win, he still got his belt, so he can go back down.
Yeah,
ain't nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
Yes, so it's playing out even sweeter for him because look at it. Now he draw with him. Look at all the people who were saying this guy wasn't able or capable to even be in the ring with him. I'm just looking at all the comments and stuff, and now a lot of these guys, hey Roach, can I get an interview? Can I get an interview?
Yeah.
Can I get an interview? Yeah. And it's kind of crazy to me how things flip flop. So but like we said, we've been watching Tank been watching Roach.
Yep.
And also Gary Russell since the amateurs, right?
Since
the amateurs. So a lot of us from the area who know these guys knew they was going to be here eventually or at some point. But it was a good fight, and they didn't do nothing but just boost Roach stock.
Yeah.
Through the roof.
But yeah, man. Again, you guys tell me what you thought.
Yeah.
This is just our assessment of what we saw. We want to give it some time to just really think about it. That's why we're doing somewhat of a late drop because I had to really think about how I felt about it. You know what I'm saying? Just watch the dust settle. Yeah. But tune in so we can cover some upcoming fights that are coming. Especially we got Rolly fighting.
Right, we got Rolly fighting.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia. We got T.O. fighting Barboza, and we got Devin Haney fighting Jose Ramirez.
We might as well, since we're here, and before we close out, let's go ahead and do the fight predictions. Okay.
Let's also do this.
What
do you think in the comments? Weigh in. Do you think the challenger has to beat the champ severely to get the nod?
That's an old.
That's an old saying, but I want to hear what they saying in 2025.
But what is beat the champ? I mean, we got to define what beat means.
I hear a lot of people say.
CompuBox doesn't always define that you beat the fighter. Sometimes,
so you can go in there
watching the fight. You can clearly see who.
So
won,
even like with Mayweather, you wasn't gonna get the nod unless you natted him up or something. That's what I'm saying. Do you really? Is that still valid today? I don't think so. But a lot of people got these old school thoughts. Yeah. Then you gotta come in. You gotta severely dominate to win. Yeah. Or you just gotta outpoint him right around. I know.
Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before we go again, let's do our fight prediction so we have it on record.
Okay.
Rolly versus Garcia. Who do you got?
Garcia knockout.
What? He said Garcia knockout. Man, I'm going
against Rolly. You said Rolly. Oh, that's your boy. I forgot. That's
hey man, hey look, y'all ain't gonna like this, yo. Y'all not gonna like this. Yeah, I think Ryan gonna clip him, and I say Ryan gonna clip him because Rolly doesn't have the best defense. All right, so we agree, Rolly. All right, so the next fight would have been Haney versus Ramirez. Who you got?
I got Haney's decision. I think Ramirez he's a great fighter, but I think his better days are behind him.
I think this is a safe fight for Haney. I think he took a lot of punishment. This is the type of some fights last, and I think his loss to Ryan Garcia is still going to haunt him both, just mentally, physically. I think you had a crowd, fans like tormenting you.
Time out. I know you say his loss. He's still undefeated.
They took his loss away, but no, we know what we saw. So all right, so yeah. I get it.
Rules. Didn't we say that earlier? Rules are rules.
Yeah, rules are rules. Yeah. All right, and lastly, what was the other fight?
T.O. and Barboza.
T.O. and Barboza. I personally just want T.O. to lose because I ain't gonna lie. I'm a boxing fan. Right? I'm a boxing fan. I just maybe I'm just old. It's something about you gotta have character, right? So all this silly like racist stuff that T.O.'s doing, it's dumb, and I just don't think there's a place in the sport for that. So.
I'm not hip.
I ain't with it. Yeah, I ain't with all that.
So you got him. You going against T.O., right?
I don't like him. I just don't like him as a fighter. I mean, he's just not. He's not my cup of tea. I'm for anybody who he fight. So
yeah, I like Barboza.
So Barboza,
he's strong. He's strong. He got heavy hands. I go decision. Barboza.
Okay.
On record.
Okay.
Just like my draw on record.
Shut up. All right, y'all, man. Hey, look, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Eastside Boxing Podcast.